Steve Mbogo here. Now, on the look of things and the speed at which things are being implemented in this country, I think it is evident that it is time Kenyans have to update their softwares. I'm talking basically about the mental softwares. We are so used to updating our electrical softwares and we forget that our minds also need what you call a refresher course or a software update. Why am I saying this? A lot of implementations are being pushed in this country. And these are implementations that many Kenyans really don't understand where they're heading to, including those in opposition and those in government. Now, members of parliament are really pushing bills and issues that they have not investigated or that they do not really know where they're headed to. And this includes also the presidency. I think most of the things that he's being pushed to implement here, he personally does not understand the repercussions. Now, today I want to talk about what we call the C40 cities. Now, C40 cities apparently is a group of leaders in most of the major cities in the world, Kenya included, coming together in action to control what we call climate change. But in reality, the C4 cities are implementing what we call 15-minute cities, or rather the smart cities. Now, these smart cities are meant basically and purely for total control of human lives and our activities. They are meant for implementation of movement of people from rural areas or farmlands to these 15-minute cities. And also they will ensure that anything to do with movement, to do with lifestyle is fully surveyed. Now, under the implementation of the 15-minute cities, they say that no one is allowed to drive petrol or diesel engine cars anymore. They are pushing for electric vehicles. I remember a few weeks ago, we saw the Minister of Transport in Kenya launching a program where he's saying any vehicle that has any electric vehicle will have a private, or rather a different kind of number plate so that it can have privileges. So they're starting to implement and forcing on people to be purchasing these electric vehicles. Remember, all the electric vehicles, as much as it is a good idea, remember these are vehicles that are fit with what we call microchips, and it's meant for control. Under the New World Order agenda, their main motto is you will own nothing and be happy. Main agenda is to control and remove ownership of properties, farmland, and also motor vehicles from citizens to the globalists, or rather the big corporations. And you are only allowed to rent those properties and vehicles from them. Now, having said that, you and I will agree that the affordable housing project in Kenya is a project that no one can really understand. And it's time we compare notes together and want to understand where this affordable housing is coming from and where it's headed to. Many a times the president has said, whether we like it or not, this program has to be implemented. The affordable housing project in itself, and it's in terms of constitutionality, has raised a lot of eyebrows amongst Kenyans. And up to date, I saw in the news yesterday or 2 days ago, there are a few individuals also in Nakuru County and Nairobi County who have still taken the implementation of this affordable housing to court, simply because it violates many of the clauses in our constitution. Kenya is a country that is governed and controlled by the constitution as our holy book. Having said that, the president himself, many a times, he has insisted that it is time for people to free up land for farming and move into cities. And that is why the implementation of the housing projects in Kenya is concentrated only in the towns. And the main agenda is to take over farmland and to displace and move these people from the farm areas and rural areas and bring them to the cities. And that is why many Kenyans are asking, why aren't these houses built in rural areas? It is meant for control. Once the 15-minute cities are implemented and that in the name of affordable housing are implemented in Kenya, the next thing that the biggest gateway for these 15-minute cities will be what we call the digital identity and the central bank digital currencies. What do I mean by that? For instance, if you are subjected to live in one area in the 15-minute cities, or rather this affordable housing, it means your movement is controlled. Failure to which, if you don't obey to the rules in terms of communication, in terms of your carbon credit scores which are going to be implemented, and we had the president talk about what we call the carbon tax, your digital, your central bank digital currencies, or rather your account or your money will be frozen using your digital ID. So Kenyans, the question is this: These are implementations that are coming in our country without our consent. I think for them to decide to change our laws and our forms of governance in Kenya specifically, we have to move and go through a process, or rather even a referendum. We as Kenyans are not comfortable with this globalist agenda in our country. I've said it again and again. And it is time Kenyans should understand that we've been left alone. And that's why as Steve Mbogo, I'm doing my patriotic role of oversight, and I'm making Kenyans aware of what is happening. Whatever I'm saying is not information that I'm propagating. This is information that is in the mainstream media. Go and read about the 15-minute cities. Go read about this C40 agenda. Go read about the World Economic Forum. Go read about the New World Order, Kenyans. Update your softwares. Then we can compare notes together. Members of Parliament who are in Parliament today, you have shown us that you've become full puppets to this regime and these globalists. We want to tell you that whatever you're doing today, keep in mind, the effects, the ripple effect will also affect you, your families, and your future generation, including the president. Mr. President, I've told you again and again, you are a man I respect. You're the president of the Republic of Kenya. But we will not shy away from telling you the truth. These white people, these globalists, will use you, misuse you, and later on abuse you. We as Kenyans, we are saying, first and foremost, I as Steve Mbogo and my fellow Kenyans, we are asking a very simple question. We want to know the guarantees that are being placed by this government as collateral towards the loans being given by the IMF. It's so funny that every day we open the newspapers or we listen to our news, it's all about Kenya getting more and more and more loans. But the question is, what is the collateral being given against this borrowing? We all know that there's no one who can give you money without a collateral. So, having said that, we look at similar places where the IMF and these organizations have taken control. Take, for example, Ukraine. Their biggest guarantee was on what we call state corporations and farmland or agricultural land. So is it the same case here? Is it why we are seeing so many policies that will ensure no one does farming in this country? Is it why we are seeing farming being derailed through the fake fertilizer and all those things in this country? Is it why we are seeing land policies on compulsory acquisition of land by government and introduction of levies to freehold landowners to ensure that people are not able to pay those fees and the land repossessed? So we need to know. So I'm challenging the government today as Steve Mbogo and a citizen of the Republic of Kenya. Make it public. Let us know. And not only this government, from Uhuru's time, we want to know the full documents, the full agreements you had with all our lenders. We want to know how much money you took, and we want to know what was the collateral given against this funding. Because we have a feeling we are being sold out in day broad light, and we are busy talking about nonsensical issues which have no merit. These are the issues you're supposed to be talking about if we are true patriots of this country.